right. I think we are good to go. How's everybody doing? Let's see, Dave, are we good?
All set.
All right. Well, everybody, hope everyone is doing well, and I hope everyone is getting excited because we are just about 2 months away from Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. It's really starting to kick in. We know tomorrow we have some big news coming. We'll get to all that. We're going to talk autographs, going to answer your questions this week. But first, let's kind of go through a little bit of what we have going on at the virtual Cantina network and all the good things we have to look forward to in the coming weeks and months, and certainly what we have going on at Celebration. So this is our big event, and I hope people are putting this on their calendars. If you're going to Anaheim, if you're going to be at Celebration, you have to be at our Boonta Eve Cantina, our big event happening at Biggs in Anaheim. This is just going to be a fantastic event. We'll have a karaoke competition. We're going to have autograph signers. It is going to be fun. This is as much part of Celebration as Autograph Hall or anything else. You get to be there. I'm very, very happy, proud that my website, Star Wars Autograph News, will be sponsoring the Autograph Hall at the autograph signing room that we're going to have at Boonta Eve. We're going to have several people coming to sign autographs at our event. We'll have Leilani and Ariel Shu. We hopefully, of course, if they're going to be signing at Autograph Hall, they can't sign for us, but they'll be there at the event anyway. Tim Donaldson, one of the few, he was actually a child and played an Ewok in A New Hope, so he'll be signing autographs for us on Boonta Eve, May 25th, the night before Celebration kicks off, right? So huge event. Also, we have Kevin Thompson's going to be our MC. If you've seen Kevin Thompson in any of our watch-alongs or any other events we've done, he's part of our family. We love him. He's going to be the MC for the night. We also have Dominic Pace will be signing autographs. Like we said, Tim Donaldson, Eric Walker from the Ewok Adventures, and again, Leilani and Ariel Shu. So it's going to be great. We have this is so much. I get it. Karaoke competition, autograph signing. That's not it. We have even more going on at this event. So we also have the Author's Corner. Craig Miller, who has a fantastic book you got to check out, Star Wars Memories. He'll be signing. Again, like I said, mentioned Kevin Thompson his book just came out, I believe, a week, maybe 2 weeks now, but I think just a week ago, last week. Brand new, My Journey to Endor. You got to check it out. And Richard Wolosky from Skywalking Through Neverland. I think it'll be, I don't even know if it's out yet, brand new book today in Star Wars History Part 1. So we'll have these authors there. They'll have their books. They'll be taking pictures, signing their books. It's going to be a great event. The Boonta Eve store will be closing, so we have our TeePublic store, and it will be this. I believe, is this the T? I want to make sure I have this right.
This is different than TeePublic. Yeah. You can find the link on the page.
Great. So, but this is going to cut April 1st, which is only what is it? A week or two away from now.
Not very long.
Yeah, coming close. So these are great designs. Limited number of these shirts available at Celebration. So please go order to make sure you get it before Celebration so you can wear it to the event. We hope to see a lot of these T-shirts at a Celebration. All right. So I think that's what everything we have for our housekeeping. What we need to take care of on the virtual Cantina network. What we have going on. I didn't miss anything, did I?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay. Oh, again, we have to thank David for a producer for the show. Thank you very much, David, for all you do. You're making the show look good. We really appreciate it. All right. So we have this week I asked David, I said, can you put a call out for questions? Because we're kind of on the cusp, of when we're going to get information. And I want to make sure we have plenty of time for your questions, because I know a lot of people have questions that whether you've been to a celebration before or you haven't. There's a lot of questions this year, probably more so than ever before. Two things before, David, before we get to the questions, I have two just notes that I made tonight that I want to touch on because they tie into things we've talked about in previous episodes. One, and this is a question that I think we were asked maybe last month, was who is going to be running Autograph Hall? And still don't have a definitive, but anybody that noticed last week, the podcast stage application went live. It was late last week, maybe Thursday or Friday. And as I reviewed it, because we do have a weekly podcast with Star Wars Autograph News. We've done that since 2013. So I always look to see if it's something I want to do. But there was a line that caught my attention as an autograph collector, and not so much for the podcast, but it said, no guests or celebrities will be provided by Star Wars Celebration or by the official show autograph provider for Celebration podcast stage broadcasts. So it was just the way they wrote official show autograph provider that made me think maybe it's not ReedPop doing Autograph Hall themselves in-house. It still could be, but that wording at least caught my attention as maybe it just sounded the official show autograph provider made it sound to me like maybe there's a third party, an official Pix or some other company doing it. Again, we'll see. We might not find out until we get to Anaheim, but we'll find out. And then another thing kind of tied into this, when I talked about, let's look at who ReedPop is booking for their other shows. You mentioned that Hayden Christensen had been booked for all their other shows. It was Steve, a friend of mine down in the DC area, sent me an email that they have MCM Birmingham, which is, obviously it's in the UK. It's another ReedPop show. In addition to Hayden, they have Ian McDermott and Matthew Wood and Helen Slater. And Helen Slater is actually, she's an LA-based actress, and she's been in The Bad Batch and The Book of Boba Fett. So to me, that thought, this might be a good indication. Again, who do they have at their current shows might be an indication of who they would easily have contracts for Celebration. So Ian, not a surprise. Matthew Wood would not be a surprise. And actually, I would be disappointed if he wasn't there. But Helen Slater would be a new name. She's never done a Celebration before, and I love collecting the animation, and I love collecting Book of Boba Fett. And she was in the episode where the Mandalorian goes back and he meets with the armorer, and he gets into the fight over the Darksaber with I forget his name, not Pre-Vizsla, the heavy trooper. So we'll see. She was sitting at the table when he collects, he delivers the guy's head as the bounty. So we'll see. Maybe it would not be a surprise if she was there now. All right. So why don't we, David, why don't we hop into their questions?
All right.
Any questions from the posts?
So we're starting with the questions that we had on the post, and we'll take some other questions from the chat and the comments as we go along. So please feel free to put those there. Our first question is, so when are we expecting, when will the guest announcements for the signings and the photo ops, when are they going to be made?
Great question. I think this was Paul maybe that asked this one, but it's been on the minds of all collectors. For a lot of us, this is why we go to Celebration. We might go to the panels, but we love getting the autographs. And to be 2 months out and not have any news yet, it always seems like that the news is later and later when we get those first announcements, but this is undoubtedly late. I mean, the good news is, I think anyone people that who kind of keep an eye on these things, when they release tickets, we get guest announcements. So tickets are released tomorrow, and it also has historically tied into any type of show that Star Wars is doing, StarWars.com. So, this week in Star Wars or whatever it is. So that show now with Kristen Braver is Thursdays. Every Thursday that comes out, and they will usually recap any guests that have been announced. So tomorrow they go on sale. Tickets go on sale. We could get the announcement tomorrow with the tickets going live. We could get it Wednesday. It would be unlikely we did not have a guest announcement by Thursday, and it'd be on the show. That's my guess, and it's the guess of a lot of people. Spencer and I were talking about it. People on Twitter that kind of watch these things. I'll expect our first announcement to be this week. It makes sense from a business perspective. If they're selling tickets, want to sell more tickets, get a name out there to get people excited, and so we'll see. Could be wrong, but that's the best guess for a lot of people, is that we get something this week.
Excellent. Well, you've answered our third question, which is who is running autographs and photo ops this year, which is, suspected this could be that.
Yeah.
But here's the big question. This is a long one.
Okay.
So with it being the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, the 42nd anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, the 5th anniversary of Rogue One, and the 45th anniversary for A New Hope, or Star Wars as we call it.
Yep.
So, and then you've got all the myriad of other shows and properties. Who do you think the majority of guests will be from?
Great question. All right. So I think maybe it was last month, we talked about how they typically divide guests among the sagas. And there's a formula they typically use about how, it is fairly even between original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel, animation. It's fairly even. That being said, they are going to, again, celebrations were the original 3 celebrations were to celebrate the release of Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. So it's pretty amazing that now the reason why we have celebration, now we're coming up on, we've already had the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace in Chicago, which is the 20th anniversary of Celebration. And now we're at the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. So there's 2 things to look at. First is the art that we got in the merchandise that's already been released. If you remember for 2020, remember this was supposed to happen back then, the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back was happening, and there were t-shirts done up for that. So I would not be surprised if we see something from the Empire Strikes Back. I'd actually be disappointed if we didn't get a nice 40th anniversary, even though it's the 42nd anniversary. We haven't had a celebration since. I would love to see a 40th anniversary panel for Empire Strikes Back. We know, because last week the store opened up again, we know that they are doing a 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. And I got to say, I love that artwork. I bought, even though it's my least favorite of the films, I bought one of those t-shirts immediately. Love the design, love the logo. So we know there'll be somewhat of, we're going to look at this in a little bit, Attack of the Clones. They have not done 5-year anniversaries in the past, meaning, so Rogue One being 5 years, Star Wars being 45. I don't see them having any more guests than because of their anniversaries, because it's an odd year. It's a 5-year, 5 and 45. Plus, they just did the huge 40th anniversary Star Wars panel in Orlando in 2017, which was just the best panel they've ever done, in my opinion, at least from the 6 celebrations I've been to. So I don't think they will have, of course, they will have guests from A New Hope. They will have guests from Rogue One, but I don't see it being a focus of the celebration. Attack of the Clones, we know because, again, last week we saw the t-shirts, and those were the only film featured in the t-shirt specifically was Attack of the Clones 20th anniversary. So we know there'll be a presence. Now, a couple things when it comes to Attack of the Clones. a lot of the actors are from Australia. And although Los Angeles is the closest continental city, or California as being the closest continental part of the United States to Australia, it's still a pretty pricey ticket to have to pay for to fly guests to Celebration for them to sign autographs. So what I did earlier today is I went through the credits of Attack of the Clones. I said, why don't we go through and see who makes sense? Who could we see at Celebration? And all I did was just cut and paste from the credits. So let's take a look. I think that was this Dave that asked this question. Dave Lewis.
Believe that was part of it. Yes.
Yeah. So Ewan McGregor, this is the first time I can say we have a good chance of seeing Ewan McGregor in Autograph Hall. I think any other year he could have been a potential for a panel, or especially a virtual panel, but I think we have a good shot at him being in Autograph Hall because he has been he's been booked for 2 other Comic-Cons in the last couple of years. So that shows us that he's at least been willing. So if he's willing, then Celebration has a shot. Next is Natalie Portman. So will she be in Autograph Hall? No, she will not be in Autograph Hall. I think the most we might see from her is maybe a virtual panel, but she won't be signing autographs at Autograph Hall. Hayden Christensen, very likely to be in Autograph Hall. Very likely. Like I said, he's attended past celebrations, and as I mentioned a few times, he's booked for all the other Reed Pop shows in the last few months and in the upcoming months. So highly likely we see Hayden Christensen. Frank Oz as Yoda, a dream for all of us that he would be in Autograph Hall. Not at all likely that he's in Autograph Hall, but we could see him at a panel. He does not, he used to be very good at signing autographs. If you saw him at the airport or you saw him in public, he would happily sign for you, but he would personalize everything. He was very aware of people reselling his autograph. And then some autograph collectors made it known to him that that's fine, we're just going to erase your name off it anyway. And then he stopped signing autographs at all. So I did get to meet him in New York a couple of years ago, got a picture with him. Great guy. It was really nice, but not into signing autographs anymore. All right. Ian McDermott, very likely to be in Autograph Hall. He's attended other celebrations. He's at other Repop shows, including what I mentioned earlier, MCM Birmingham. So highly likely we'll see Ian. Pernilla August lives in Sweden, and she signs through the mail. If you send her a letter and an autograph, she has signed over the years. A little bit tough, especially from the US, to send out to Sweden, but again, unlikely but not impossible. She is an actress, and she's I believe she's still a working actress in Sweden. She's very big there, so I think in the past it's been tough for that to even be an option. She's very high on a lot of autograph collectors lists, but unlikely because of the distance that we would see her in in Anaheim. All right, 3 names, 3 good names. So Ahmed Best, we saw him at Chicago, and that went really, really well. And then I think he ended up with a Disney Plus show, the game show that he did. Very likely that we see him. Definitely not out of the question that we would see him at Celebration. Oliver Ford Davies, Sio Bibble, I believe was his name, does attend Comic-Cons. There's a potential for him to be there. Again, he lives in the UK. It's kind of a pricey ticket for the show to fly him from London to Los Angeles. Given his role, possible. I wouldn't say extremely likely, but possible. Tim Morrison, I would say, is very likely we see him at Autograph Hall. I don't expect his autograph will be inexpensive, but I do expect we'll see him. All right, 3 more names. Anthony Daniels, C-3PO. We may see him. He's doing a couple shows. He's doing Awesome Con in DC coming up. Might, just like in Chicago, if we see him, he might not be in Autograph Hall. It might be kind of a special situation where he is off doing his own thing. We'll have to see. Silas Carson, another actor who does Comic-Cons, he does conventions, not a ton of them, but he does them. So it's possible. I believe he's UK based. So an easier trip than Australia, but again, there's a possibility. There's a possibility we could see him. And as we know, unfortunately, Kenny Baker passed a few years back. So we'll see Kenny. Samuel L. Jackson. How cool would it be for Samuel L. Jackson to be an Autograph Hall? Not going to happen. But again, I could see him doing a virtual panel. Just being for the 20th anniversary panel that they do. I could see him coming in for that virtually, but not going to be signing an Autograph Hall. Yeah, I would love to be wrong. Any of these that I say, no, there's no way. I would love to be wrong for any of these. So, and again, Christopher Lee passed a few years back. So, let's see, Christopher Lee. All right. Jimmy Smits, Bail Organa. Jimmy Smits lives in California, so it's possible. I think he's a possibility. I think it would. He doesn't do a lot of shows. He has done some. Again, when Celebration is in Anaheim, it's a bit of a game changer because it's so close to where so many actors live. Jack Thompson, Kliegelaars, he did pass away. Zan Wessel, Liana Walsman, she does shows. She did a lot of shows back when the film came out, and then she was quiet for a long time. She's starting to do some more. There's a possibility. You already talked about I'm at Best. Rose Byrne, I believe she's become kind of a big actress since this film came out. I don't see her name as attending many conventions or if any conventions, so not likely. We mentioned Oliver. Ronald Falk has passed away. Jay Lagaya. So Celebration vets know that he was the MC for a while. He was he used to be what Warwick Davis has been doing. So I think this would be good for him and Captain Typho to come back and be part of the 20th anniversary of that film. So again, there's a possibility there for sure. Andy Secombe, he does he's the voice of Watto. He's in the UK, very active at conventions. He was just at one this past weekend. So it's possible. Again, it comes down to that flight from the UK. It's not that they won't have any actors from the UK. It's just they're more choosy about who they fly over because of the price associated with a round trip flight from London to LA. You mentioned Anthony and Silas. Queen Jamila, I do not know. She has done shows, I believe I saw, because I just saw somebody recently with her autograph. There's a chance. Daniel Logan is I would almost guarantee he's there. He's as close to a definite as you can get. Joel Egerton, another one. He's more. I think this is our best chance if he's going to come. I know he's, again, since the film came out, he's become a big actor. A chance. I mean, we had Forrest Whitaker at a couple celebrations, so the kind of ceiling has been raised as far as the level of actors that do come to sign at Celebration. Not out of the realm of possibility. Bonnie Peace, she's attended celebrations in the past. We know she's in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think there's a very good chance we see her at Celebration. And Anthony Phelan, I don't see him attending many shows. If anything, I believe he's still alive. I didn't double check on him, but I don't think it's likely that we see him. Well, we've lost Alethea McGrath. She's passed to cast anew. Some of these names, a lot of, so this is what we're going to start seeing a lot from Australia. Matt Doran, I love the name. He's in Australia. Alan Rusko does do shows quite often in the UK. It is a possibility. But Veronica Segura, David Bowers, it's been a long time. I think that David Bowers, I think, attended C2, I believe. Bodie Taylor, chance that we see him. And the Zach Jensen. Zach and Jesse Jensen are brothers, and they attended Celebration 6. So possibility that we see them again now that it's the anniversary. And Jerome Blake is he does a lot of shows. This would be a great film for him. I think he had in the prequels, I think he has 7 different characters that he did in the prequels. So likely that we see, he'd be a great guest to have because he has so many characters to choose from. All right. And the ones that I didn't mention, it's unlikely that we would see them. A couple more. So Adi Galia, she just did her first convention, first private signing ever a couple months ago. She just wasn't into signing autographs, and it wasn't, people were asking her for a very long time, and she just wasn't interested. But she did her first signing, possible, but unlikely. I think it's Con Bonfield who's passed. Michaela, she did a private signing during COVID, but doesn't really do shows, and neither does Deepika. So that's the credited cast for Attack of the Clones. So there's some that I think we could very well see, and some good names. I just don't think we'll get a lot of the deep cuts that are in Australia. That would be, really expensive for the show to fly in. But all right.
So a couple of more questions that were asked while you were going through that list, and some of it's kind of about that list.
Okay.
I think you were asked a little bit about this kind of last time, but inquiring minds want to know.
Sure.
So besides Ewan,
yep,
what do you think would be your top choice for the autograph hall?
Oh, I see. I've been thinking about this question for the last month, David, because Scooby asked this question. I think he asked me this question: who would you like to see? And I couldn't really come up with a name. And I said, Frank Oz. And I do have one person I would love to see. And if he was there, it would just make my entire celebration. And that would be Troy Kotzer. And I don't know why I didn't think of him last month when we talked about it, but he would be, no, he's not on this list. He's not from Attack of the Clones. I'll give you my Attack of the Clones names, but he was the first deaf actor in Star Wars when he was the Tusken who did sign language, and then he created Tusken Sign Language that we've seen in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So I would love to see him at Autograph Hall. I'd be excited. Joel Egerton would be huge for me from Attack of the Clones if we're looking at names from that list. Joel, Pernilla August, it would just absolutely be phenomenal if they got her, because again, she's in Sweden. She's not excited. She doesn't really do shows. She doesn't do shows. She would be a fantastic get for this autograph hall, because you can't get her, and she's a big name in the film. I mean, she's Anakin's mother. I mean, that's a big character, even though she doesn't have a lot of screen time. She has a huge impact on the whole story. And then I would love to see Matt Doran, so Evan Sleaze Baganon or whatever his name was. I would love to see him there. He just looks like I think he was also in The Matrix, and I would love to see him at the show. So those would be my three, plus Troy, who wasn't in Attack of the Clones.
Well, this I think that reminder came from Spencer, but that was a question from Scooby last time.
Yeah.
And so Spencer also asked the follow-up. So what's going to happen if you go 0 for 3 with Ewan?
No, I don't want to think about it, Spencer, because that would just be heartbreaking. So I think we mentioned it before that when Ewan was booked for these two other shows, that show in Boston and the show in Texas, I had tickets to both, and neither of them happened. So third time's a charm, right? So it's got to happen.
I think you're kind of in good company there, because I think that's how I think Mark is that way with Giancarlo. He's hitting miss every time.
The longest time that for me, I had two misses. So before Ewan, it was Greg Delisle who did Ventress in the Micro Clone Wars series. I attended like 5 shows that I was supposed to see her, and I never ended up seeing her. She always canceled. And same thing for Bai Ling, who had a cut scene in Revenge of the Sith. I finally have met both of them, but it took a long time. So I have faith that Ewan will happen too. And I have met Ewan at a Broadway play after the show and got his autograph, but I need to see him at Autograph Hall.
Excellent. So what are your thoughts on the likelihood of a Kenobi panel with potentially, since they're going to be there for Attack of the Clones, Joel, Bonnie, Ewan, and Hayden?
I think that's extremely likely. Extremely. It's not a coincidence, and I think maybe Spencer even heard this from somebody. It's not a coincidence that this show is being released the day before Celebration starts, and so I think it's very likely we see that panel with those guests, and maybe a surprise guest that we don't even know of yet. So if anybody went to the Mandalorian panel in Chicago, which I attended, I thought that was just amazing. Great content. We got the characters, all the actors were there. It felt like a Hollywood event. Like they were, Jon Favreau was there, all the actors. I feel like we could get the same thing with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anaheim.
Probably with who's the director of that? Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So you had mentioned a little bit earlier that, probably based on the merch, that this is going to be largely Attack of the Clones. But also there's, the opportunity and stuff, because it is an anniversary as well. Some people from Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
So if you think there's going to be people from Empire, who do you think?
We look at Empire. And I'm just gonna, while we're talking, let me just pull it up because it helps me to see visually. Who are the characters that you think about when we say Empire Strikes Back? One of the first ones is Yoda. So when we wouldn't see, again, we could see Frank Oz in a panel perhaps, but not as a signing guest. And I think we're talking about mostly signing guests. So Empire Strikes Back, Mark Hamill, maybe. Harrison Ford, no. Carrie Fisher's passed. Billy D. Williams. It's Spencer and I think the day that Spencer and I met, I think we were going to a Billy D. Williams panel. And he's, even though he was just in Rise of Skywalker, he is getting up there in age. I think we would see him. I don't think we would see him in any panels, but we could see him in Autograph Hall for sure.
I know for sure, just in my looking around, the Lando Calrissian merch is everywhere. I mean, that's the character that they've really chosen to put a lot of merch out for.
Oh, that's okay. That's good to know. Yes, that's
like you can really find Black Series and the classic retro figures is Lando's, or they've made a lot of them because they're available.
okay. I think if he's healthy and he wants to be there, I think he'll be there for sure. I think there's a good chance for sure. You know, this is the, so many of the great names that brought us Empire have passed. Some recently, like Carrie and Dave Prowse and Peter Mayhew and Kenny, Jeremy, but also John Hollis, he passed after Celebration 2. Jack Purvis, Katie Purvis's mom, has passed. I think actually in Chicago, we had some of the Imperial officers there. They were attending.
How do you call Alp? How do you Alp?
Close it off.
We're about to clap out the bed.
Oh boy. Well, sorry about that, guys. So in Chicago, we had some of the Imperial officers. So Kenneth Cawley, Julian Glover, and Michael Culver are on the circuit signing autographs. Most of them have the same agent. I can see them working out a deal to get those guys here for Empire. So they were General Veers, Admiral Piet, Captain Nita. You could see them. General Riken has passed. Christopher Malcolm was at C6. He was Rogue 2. He's passed. Dennis Lawson and Richard Oldfield. We could see both of them. So obviously Dennis Lawson was Wedge, and Richard Oldfield is Hobby. He's been doing some shows. We could see John Morton. You could see John Ratzenberger, who was Major Derlin. So yeah, same guy from Cheers and all the Toy Story movies. We could see him. And then let's see, just for credited, Ray Hassett. He was when Han says my friend's out there, and your tauntaun will freeze before the first marker, and then I'll see you in hell. So he's the guy that says your tauntaun will freeze. He's actually just retired as a Connecticut police officer, and he was good friends with John Ratzenberger, and they kind of worked together. So there's definitely some good names we could see from Empire. I would say mostly it's Imperial officers that we could see. Trevor Butterfield was an Imperial officer. He's attended Celebration in the past. And so they also used a lot of casting, a lot of the crew members in Empire, especially as Rebel soldiers on Hoth. A lot of those were behind the scenes. Joe Johnson, and Ralph McQuarrie, and a lot of great names were worked as kind of filling in spots as Rebel officers. So those are the I don't see the other than maybe Mark Hamill and Billy D. Williams. You're not going to see Harrison Ford in Autograph Hall, Frank Oz.
I don't think you're allowed to say Mark Hamill will be at Celebration on this page. I think that's been banned.
Yeah, I don't know why we have done that to Mark's good name, but
it's a running joke, sir. I'm sorry.
We hope he's there. We just know if he's there, he's going to be a lot of money for his autograph. So.
Yes. All right. I think it was mentioned that Billy D is going to be at Fanboy in Florida in September, so he is kind of on the radar of the circuit there.
Yeah, he definitely does shows. He's through Cool Waters, which is a talent booking company, and he's still doing them. He's got a couple scheduled this year.
So next question would be thoughts on potential attendees from Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett.
Oh yeah. Well, Tam is in both of them, right?
Yes.
I think so. I think that Tam covers a lot of bases in Star Wars. Pedro Pascal, not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think it's likely, but I think it could happen. All right.
What do you think about the other two gentlemen who do stunt work for Din Djarin?
I think it's definitely possible. They're out there and they're available. I think and Celebration certainly knows how to contact them to book them, and I think it's possible. And I hope I hope they do attend. I did get Pedro's autograph already, but I would love to meet those guys. So Lateef and
Brendan.
Yeah.
Excellent. Others that you think might show up for that?
Ming-Na Wen does a lot of shows. I can see her attending. Let's see.
Do you think we'll get some of the supporting characters? The gentleman, is it Carrie that plays Black Chrysanthemum?
Yep, Harry Jones. Yeah, I think it's likely he's starting to do shows. I think there's a good chance we could see him. Let's see. Probably not Danny Trejo. Emily Swallow. Excuse me. She does a lot of shows. There's a lot of stunt work. Typically, a lot of people that are stunt professionals that have screen time and are kind of characters in their own right in the show that we could see. Whenever the show's at Anaheim, you get the potential of other behind the scenes people more so than other celebrations. So I think there's a good chance we could see some of these characters from Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian. Leilani Shu, who we've had her as a guest on the watch-alongs, and she's going to be with us for Boonta Eve. Said she could be signing Autograph Hall. I would love to be able to say, sorry, you can't sign for us because you're already contracted with Autograph Hall. I think that'd be fantastic. I would love to see her at Autograph Hall. Chris Bartlett. I could see him certainly being asked. He's done so many characters within both of those Disney Plus shows. Dorian Kingy, who was Cad Bane, the performance in Book of Boba Fett. I could see him coming. He's signed to do shows. So, yeah, I think we'll be able to I could see them, and a lot of those guys should be fairly affordable autographs, so on the lower end of the price scale of these autographs, if they have some of these behind the scenes, the Chris Bartlett and some of those folks.
What do you think are odds on? This is another question, just kind of switching gears there.
Yep.
Is possibilities of people from Andor or an Andor panel?
Yes, I would expect to see. So what problem, David, you might know this better than I do off the top of my head. Are we getting Ahsoka and Andor this year before the end of, are they both scheduled to be 2022 releases? Do you know?
I do not know if we have seen the schedule for that release since it has changed. We know Andor has been in the can. It has been done for quite some time, or at least finished shooting. But in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know that we have seen any sort of hint at release on that. The same for Ahsoka.
Okay. I think both of those, if it's not this year, I think it would be early next year. And everybody, my dog's with me in the room. She's keeping an eye on me. If you hear her panting. Good girl. I think if for those who for Andor and Ahsoka, I think it is likely that we get a panel. I'll put it this way: I would be disappointed if we didn't, based on when we're expecting these shows, how long it's been since our last celebration, and me as a fan and consumer of Star Wars, my expectations. So I think I think we should be getting panels for both of those shows, with at least whichever one is coming out first. At least I would like to, a little bit of footage or something as well. Yeah, the celebration is, especially in Anaheim was when we got Chewie We're Home, right? They
Right.
tend not to pull. They pull out all the stops in Anaheim because, again, it's in their backyard. It's in, Hollywood and California where everything's happening. So my expectations are higher. And yeah, I expect to see that. I would be disappointed if we didn't. This has the potential to be as far as panels go, because again, if the property hasn't come out yet, if the show hasn't come out yet, they can't sign autographs for it. So that's why even with Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have a trailer now, and that has official images that go with it. So possibly we can have things from the trailer for them to sign. But if a show doesn't come out, then that's considered, they're not going to have you sign autographs because those images would inherently have spoilers attached to them.
And do you think potentially that even though Kenobi will officially release the day of or the day before Celebration, that they may not announce Kenobi specific signers because that would be a spoiler?
Well, that's a good question, but so many of the Kenobi actors, well, not so many, there's, obviously Ewan, Hayden, and oh, hold on one second.
Yes, sir. So go ahead, friends, and while Frank's on a little bit of a break, you can continue asking questions, and I will be writing them down and putting them in here. I see some of them. I think one of the ones that we've answered a little bit was, I think before you came on, is do we think we would see Natalie pop in? And I think the answer to that Frank gave was, we might see Natalie as a video or a remote sign in to a panel or something, but not necessarily a Natalie in person, I think. So I'm answering that question. I believe Frank already has. So Frank's back and I will let him continue.
Great. Sorry about that. So where were we?
So we're just talking about potentially not being able to announce signers or not have signers from Kenobi because just announcing them as a signer could potentially be a spoiler.
Oh, so right now we have cast that's been announced, so that's been announced for a while, and some of the cast were in the trailer. Even the Vader breathing at the end of the trailer, and it's also set in a known time where we already know that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were in it, so Joel and Bonnie wouldn't give away anything. We know they're in it. But anybody that's a surprise that hasn't been announced yet that might be a surprise, that could give it away. But Richard Friend as the Inquisitor, we know now that he's the Inquisitor. We've seen the trailer, so that wouldn't give away anything. But Ice Cube's son. Now I'm so bad with names sometimes. He's scheduled to be in. We know he's going to be in it, but we don't know what character he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might not. It might be a panel, but I don't know if we would see him in Autograph Hall. But I could see once the panel is announced and we know who's going to be in it, that'll give us a better idea of those kind of names. But it's a good question. But we know because of previous celebrations that they want to avoid spoilers in Autograph Hall, and they know that images are spoilers. Yeah.
There you go. All right, so I think this is probably about our last question to kind of to wrap it up. Is so it is now the sequel embargo is over. Do you think because of that we will get any signers, any guests from the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, like I said, I think they always try to have a certain percentage from each represented. They want every fan represented, and they're going to have a certain number of signers from each trilogy and from animation. In the past, it was really just the bigger names. So it was Daisy and Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac. Those, I think the embargo only really, I think those were the only names that were involved. Out of those names, I think the most likely that we could see is John Boyega, who's done one show so far. He did Awesome Con in DC a few years back. And we know he walked around Autograph Hall in Chicago too. I don't think it's likely we see Daisy or Adam Driver at Autograph Hall. The only thing that kind of has me on the fence with Oscar Isaac is the fact that he's doing, he has Moon Knight coming out in a couple weeks, which is another Disney property, and maybe something works out because he's doing publicity for Moon Knight. Or they were able to work something out now while he's doing publicity that he can attend. I just don't see any panels or anything like that for the sequel trilogy because it's done, but it's recent as well. It's right. The celebration is more what's coming out next and the nostalgia factor. And nostalgia isn't going to kick in for the sequel trilogy for a while. So yeah, there'll be names, but I don't think we'll see the bigger of those names in Autograph Hall.
What do you think about it was asked is, kind of, we talked about Ahmad Best coming and having like glorious ovation. What do you think about, is it time yet that we could get Kelly Marie Tran to come back around and people appreciate her at this point?
Oh yeah, I think we could. I think we could see her. I don't know that she's. I don't think she's done any shows, so it's not something. Yeah, it's easier when they've done shows and they know what to expect. I could see her certainly being invited. I don't know where she stands as far as her feelings towards our fandom and how she was, treated and that kind of thing. She certainly got the love in Chicago, but that's something that each person has to kind of figure out for themselves. But I could see her being invited. I just I don't know about sitting in an Autograph Hall, even though, I mean, when I talked to a lot of actors about this when they're first talking about going to conventions, and it's like you're going to sit in a room and people are going to tell you how much they love you all day. Right? Nobody's going to come to your table because they don't like you. And it takes the actors some of them a little while to come to terms with that experience, and you're going to get paid for it. But some of them, that's a very difficult concept to get across, that you're just, even though they're actors and the part of their career is attention, but some of them it's overwhelming to sit at a table and just be told time and again how much you're appreciated, how much people love you. It's especially for people who maybe that's not been their perception of their career or specific roles. So it's just another layer of things to think about.
Excellent. So go ahead and come on here, and I think wrap it up with you is I regret that I don't have all of the images there, but I got this one right there.
Very nice.
And if you want to see a little bit more about what's going on with this book and know a little bit more, if you'll check out the Virtual Cantina Network on YouTube, there's a lovely unboxing video of this and some other things that just dropped today. That, of course, is Tracy and Kevin Thompson's book that both will be signers in the newly announced today, the autograph author corner at the Boon to Eve celebration. And while you are over there, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel so you will get live notifications about this show, about unboxings that we put on. And the other kind of selfish reason is we just passed 900 and we gave away a really fabulous prize that the person hasn't gotten it yet, so I won't give away what that is. But when we get to 1,000 subscribers over there on the VCN, an even more fabulous prize. Yes, I know what it is ahead of time, which regrettably probably means that I'm out of the drawing and can't win it. So please like, subscribe, visit us over there. If you missed the opening portion of this show, immediately following the show, it'll all be over there and ready for you, as well as the other episodes. And I think that is what we've got, sir.
All right, sounds good. Another month close to the celebration, and I cannot wait until we're all together at celebration and in autograph hall, catching up and getting some new autographs for our collections.
Excellent. All right.
All right, Dave, what do we have as we wrap things up?
Yep. And as always, friends, may the force be with you.